There is a type of person who will sell furniture to pay for shipping documents, who will wake up at 2 a.m. to bid on a car in a country they've never been to, in a currency they had to Google, who will cry quietly, alone in a garage, the first time an engine turns over after a year of waiting. And if you think that sounds extreme, you have never truly loved something the way this person loves this car. This video is not about cars. It is about what a car can mean, and why some people will cross the entire world to find the one that means something to them. The garage smells like motor oil, cold concrete, and old rubber. It is past midnight. The overhead light flickers. On the floor, a cracked Japan auction sheet, still creased from the flight home. And there she is, a 1992 Honda NSX in Formula Red, right-hand drive. 43,000 original kilometers. She flew it from Nagoya. Took 16 months to find this exact one. Not just any NSX, this color, this year, this build. She isn't driving it yet. She's sitting on the garage floor beside it, back against the wall, knees up, staring at it the way you stare at something when you still can't believe it's real. That image, that is the entire story. Let's start with something psychologists have known for decades. Human beings don't fall in love with objects. They fall in love with what objects make them feel. There is a concept called affective memory. The idea that certain experiences leave such a powerful emotional imprint on us that the brain stores them like sacred files, not just as memories, as feelings. And when something, a car, a smell, a song, unlocks one of those files, it doesn't feel like remembering. It feels like returning. The person chasing a rare 90s JDM car isn't chasing a vehicle. They are chasing a feeling they once had and have never fully recovered. There is also something deeper at work, something called identity investment. Psychologists describe this as the process of attaching our sense of self to external objects or pursuits. When someone invests years of time, money, and emotional energy into finding one specific car, that car starts to carry their identity. It becomes the physical proof of who they are, what they value, what they refuse to give up on. And here is what makes JDM cars so uniquely powerful for this. These weren't just cars. They were myths. In the early 1990s, if you lived in America, Canada, the UK, or Australia, you couldn't buy a Skyline GT-R. You couldn't legally import a Supra RZ. You couldn't own an NSX-R. You could only read about them in imported magazines with yen signs on the price tags, in blurry Gran Turismo screenshots, in rumors passed between teenagers who all swore they'd get one someday. That unavailability didn't kill the desire. It magnified it. Because the human brain doesn't fall out of love with things it can't have. It falls deeper. Let me tell you about a specific kind of childhood. Not a sad one, just an ordinary one. He grew up in a mid-sized city somewhere in the English-speaking world. His father wasn't absent. He was just busy. Tired most evenings, working most weekends. But there was one thing they shared. Cars. Not in a technical way. In a pointing out the window way. In a listen to that exhaust note way. In a stopping at a red light, rolling down the window, and just looking way. And one afternoon, he was maybe 10, his father borrowed a friend's video game, Gran Turismo, first generation. And inside that game was a car he had never seen before. A Mazda RX 7FD, twin-turbocharged, rotary engine. A shape that looked like it had been designed by someone who was angry at the laws of physics. He chose it immediately. He didn't know what it was. He just felt it. His father looked over his shoulder and said, "That one's real, you know." 3 words. Real. A real car. In Japan. That a real person could own someday. He never forgot that afternoon. The way the room smelled. The sound of the television. His father's hand on his shoulder as he took the first corner at Autumn Ring. His father is gone now, passed away 6 years ago. Quietly. Without warning. And when the grief was at its worst, when it was the kind of grief that sits in your chest like a stone and doesn't move. He started looking for the car. Not any FD. The one. Vintage red. The color from the game. He found it 18 months later, in a lot in Fukuoka. He paid more than he should have. He doesn't care. Some people plant trees to honor people they've lost. He chose this. And that car, sitting in his garage, that is the most visited place in his life right now. Here is the thing that most people miss when they look at someone like this from the outside. They see obsession. They see impracticality. They see someone spending money on a toy. What they don't see is that for this person, the car is not an escape from real life. It is the most real part of their life. Psychologists who study meaning-making, the process of how humans create purpose, have found something profound. People who have experienced significant loss, disconnection, or unfinished chapters in their past don't just grieve the person or the moment. They grieve a version of themselves that belonged to that moment. And they spend their lives trying to find a way back, not to be stuck. Not because they can't move on, but because some parts of ourselves are worth returning to. The JDM hunter is not running away from the present. They are running toward a version of themselves that they are afraid they lost. The kid who still believed in things. The teenager who thought the world was full of beautiful, impossible machines. The young person who sat beside someone they loved in a flickering room and felt completely safe. The car is the door. And when they finally find it, the right one, the exact one, they don't just own a piece of automotive history. They hold a piece of who they were. Before the years taught them to want less. Before life told them to be practical. Before they forgot that some things are worth crossing the world for. If you're still watching this, I think I know who you are. You are the person who has a folder on your phone full of auction sheets. You are the person who knows the difference between a Kuki and a Zenki bumper. You are the person who has explained why this one specifically, more times than you can count, to people who will never quite understand. And I want to say something to you directly. You are not chasing a car. You are chasing a version of yourself that still believes in magic. And that is not a small thing. That is, in fact, the whole point. The world is full of people who learn to stop wanting things that felt too far away. You are not one of them. You never were. So keep the folder. Keep the spreadsheets. Keep waking up at 2 a.m. to bid on something halfway across the world. Because the person you're doing it for is worth every kilometer.